Hi, welcome back to Tom's Woodworking. Today I'll be doing a complete review on the 10-inch King Industrial cabinet saw. The reason why I decided to do a review on this saw is that last year prior to purchasing this, I did some research and I couldn't find any videos on YouTube. Partly because this saw is made in Canada, it's from King Canada. The only other video that I've seen was from the company itself, so that's not an unbiased review. After working with the saw for 1 year, I've gotten to know it quite a bit. I've got some good points and some not so good points about this saw, and hopefully after this video you'll be better informed if you're considering purchasing this saw. For the complete details of this saw, I'll be adding the specifications in the description of this video. So as I mentioned before, the reason I upgraded to a cabinet saw was for the cast iron top. So as I was assembling this, I noticed that the top of this is not as smooth as I would have liked. For example, when I went shopping for a saw stopper, just looking at them, the surface was very, very smooth. This one here, it's smooth, but you still feel a little bit of the grain of the metal. The problem with that is that when I add wax to it, it's still a little rough and not as slippery to pass the wood over. Another thing, if you don't oil this often enough, you'll get rust spots inside the groove and it gets into the metal since it's not as smooth. So here you can see I have some blemishes there where I actually had to sand away some rust spots. So that's one issue. The other issue I have with this saw is that after shutting it down, it takes quite a bit of time for the blade to stop spinning, which can be dangerous and kind of frustrating. Sometimes I'm cutting, there's a little piece I want to get out of the way, I shut it down, and the blade just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. The other issue is that if you're busy and you're not really quite paying attention, you think the blade's stopping and it could just have a little bit of rotation, and you can, if you're not careful, you can end up cutting yourself. I'll just give you a demonstration. That's on. Now it's off. Still going, still going. Yeah, so that took quite a bit of time. Another thing I don't quite like about this saw is the actual extraction port. As you can see right now, the hose is well secured. However, right out of the box, it comes with this little 1-inch spout that's just on the edge here, right? And I guess that's for when you run a tube to your saw guard. The issue with that is I couldn't secure it. I couldn't clamp it down to my main port, so it was always in the way. And if you're not running this, it's kind of useless. So I just ended up cutting this off so I can secure my hose properly on this. It may be a minor thing, but I don't know, I think it could be a better design. Although this is a good fence, one thing that could be improved, in my opinion, is the space here. Here, anything less than a 1/4 inch gap, the piece gets stuck underneath here when you go to run it through. This saw comes with the Excelsior dual fence, which means this fence here can come off and then be oriented more wide, which would allow you to trim some veneers. For example, you release these 3 knobs, you can take this off, and then these track screws here slide into this groove, and then when you want to put it down, you insert it into this groove. And you just tighten it like so. There you go. A useful feature of this fence is the ability to use it as a stop block with your miter gauge. You can back these up here, like so. So doing it this way, you can use the fence as a stop block, and when you finish your cut, the piece won't get jammed between the fence and the blade, which could cause a kickback. So this is a really handy feature. All right, so we discussed what I don't like about this saw. Now let's talk about what I do like about this saw. First, the size. Has a 50-inch rib capacity, which is really handy because I work with a lot of sheet goods. It weighs 410 pounds, very sturdy saw. Solid cast iron top. Right out of packaging, as soon as I assembled this table, the fence, the blade, and the table were all aligned. So I didn't have to touch that at all. All my cuts have been consistently square. The fence hasn't moved at all, so it's really good. Let's talk about the strength of the saw. 2.5 horsepower motor wired to a 230 volt circuit. It has plenty of horsepower to cut everything I throw at it. I work with a lot of hard maple, walnut, oak, and 8/4 thick, and it has no problem. It just hums. So I really like that aspect. The overall build quality is really good. The handles here are solid steel and very smooth to operate. The switch is handy, easy to access when I want to shut it down. The start button as well. Fence is really smooth, really smooth. It locks easy. If you have to make some adjustments to the fence and the blade, you just got to loosen up these screws, and that's about it. So let's talk about dust collection. This cabinet saw has really good dust collection. I only hook it up from underneath, so it's not capturing everything, but I would say 90% gets captured and extracted out. What's left over, I just move the cabinet saw away and I sweep up from underneath, but generally dust collection is really good on this machine. As I said, changing the blade is very easy as well. Just pop this off and raise the blade as a 5/8 inch arbor. I'm not going to actually remove the blade, but you do have lots of room there for your hand. There's a red button here, as you can see here, to lock the blade in when you go to use your wrench, as well as to remove the riving knife. It's pretty simple. Excuse my reach. Pop that out, that back in, and that's locked back in. My final thoughts on this saw. After a year working with it, I really like it, and I would purchase it again for the price. At $2,000, it was a real bargain. Considering a step up, especially here in Canada, if you're going to buy like a saw stop, you're looking at $5,000 for similar specs. This is $3,000 less. I just didn't have the budget to go ahead and buy the saw stop, yeah, like I said, after working with it for a year, I would definitely recommend this cabinet saw to any woodworker, hobbyist or professional. It's not a perfect saw, but it does the job. It does the job. I've been really happy with it. I've cut 2-inch, 8/4 inch walnut and hard maple, sheets of plywood, milliman, and I had no problem with it. My cuts were consistently straight. My builds come out very well with this saw, so I have no issues with it. I hope this video was helpful for people looking at perhaps purchasing a King Canada King Industrial cabinet saw. If you have any questions at all, feel free to add them in the comments. I get back to you usually within minutes. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, or even if you have comments. If you have a similar saw and you have different opinion on it, I would like to know that as well. But for this, I'm really happy with it. To be honest, it's a really good addition to my shop. Well, thanks for watching. Again, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button. I try to put out a video at least twice a month. Like I said, this is a hobby for me. I do have another full-time job while I do this, so I try to get as much time working in this shop and posting videos as I can.